John Fredericks Radio Network. Joining us now, Frank Sillar, and he is chairman of Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is a nonprofit group which is started on behalf of Fire Department of New York, FDNY, Fire Department of New York, Stephen Sillar, who lost his life fighting the blaze in the Twin Towers on 9/11, and Frank Sillar starting this organization. They're coming to Richmond this week.
It looks like it. Just looking at their website, they're having a run walk at Pole Green Park in Mechanicsville on 8:30 to benefit the Stephen Sillar Tunnels to Tower Foundation, which is in honor and memory of Stephen Sillar, who lost his life during 9/11 as a firefighter. And I think they're also honoring fallen Lieutenant Bradford Clark, who lost his life recently, a Hanover County fireman. And
also USMC. Frank Sillar, CEO of Tunnel to Towers Foundation, with us now. Hey, Frank, great to have you, man.
Thank you so much for having me on today, and it's going to be a beautiful day. We're giving away a mortgage-free smart home to Sergeant Rob Jones in Middleburg, Virginia. He's a great American hero that gave multiple limbs for his country. This is one of the things that we do as a foundation since in 2001 we started because of obvious reasons. My brother gave his life up while saving people on September 11, 2001. He actually had to run through a tunnel that was nearly 2 miles long with 60 pounds of fire gear on his back, and that's how he got there that day. So that's why we have runs and climbs all over the United States. And you mentioned the one in Richmond, and we did pay the mortgage off for Brandon Clark's widow and kids that were left behind in your area there. So we're very involved in your area, but all over the United States for sure doing this type of work.
So tell me, Frank, what was the inspiration to start this foundation?
Well, like I said, on September 11, 2001, my brother was on his way home actually to play golf with myself and my other brothers, and he heard on his radio scanner what had happened, that the towers were hit. So he drove his truck back to his firehouse, got his gear, drove to the mouth of the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, which I said is nearly 2 miles long, and it was closed for security reasons. So what did my brother Stephen do? What all firefighters do? I mean, our military, they don't run away from what's going on, they run towards it. So he put his fire gear, 60 pounds of gear, and ran through that tunnel and up West Street into what we believe was the South Tower, because we never recovered him. But that was the rest of his squad was there, and he gave up his life while saving others. So we decided to do a foundation in his honor, and we were doing many things. And then the first ever quadruple amputee to ever survive any war was from my brother Stephen's hometown, my hometown, Staten Island, New York. And we went to visit him down at Walter Reed, and while I was there, I said, Brendan Morocco, I said, Brendan, can we build you a home? And we built him a mortgage-free home. He accepted. And while we were building it, we put on all these smart technology in the home because he's missing all these limbs, 4 limbs. And we saw the difference it made in his life, and so we started to build them. Now we've done 75 all over the country, and we have another 15 of them in the ground right now. And not to repeat myself, but we are giving one today at 11 o'clock to Marine Sergeant Rob Jones, who is an inspiration, should be for all of us, because he's run multiple marathons. He does fundraising for so many different organizations, but for us as well. But this guy is just an incredible human being. Most people lose a couple limbs, they want to wallow, and it's understandable. But not him. He takes this injury and uses it to help other people.
I got to tell you, Frank, I really appreciate you joining us today, and I love what you're doing. How do you determine who you're going to build one of these smart mortgage-free homes for? How does that determination come?
Well, it's sad to say that if you qualify, you're one of the most catastrophically injured service members. You've given so much for our country. So that's how you qualify. And we do have a waiting list because there's approximately 200 of these great heroes have given these type of sacrifices. You could be paraplegic. You got to be at least a double amputee and with other injuries. And so there's over 200 of these type of great Americans have given so much for their country. So that's how you qualify.
So
you've had
Frank,
to pay
if
a
I
big
can,
price for protecting our country. So as Americans, we should be saying to these heroes that if you go ahead and you do this, you protect our country and you come back after these type of injuries and you survive it, that we're gonna give you a mortgage-free home. I think it's a contract we should have with all our military. We not just do that; we also build homes and pay off mortgages for Gold Star families. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be at a service today for Chris Slutman. Chris died a couple weeks ago in Afghanistan, left behind a wife and 3 kids, roadside bomb. And, I'm going to be at that service. He happened to be a New York City firefighter besides. And some of these firefighters and police officers are also in the reserves. They just don't know anything but serve this great country or serve their great communities. And, we have to take care of these families that are paying this big price, that are left behind. They don't get much afterwards. They really get very little, to say the least, especially from our government. But it should be us as individuals that reap the rewards of this great freedom that we have here in our country, that we take care of these families. And that's what our foundation is all about. It's tunneltotowers.org. People can join us on a mission. We have a great campaign, which most people can join us on, $11 a month. I think most Americans can handle $11 a month. If we had 1 million Americans that did that, I could pay the mortgage off for every firefighter, every police officer, every Gold Star family that die in the line of duty that have young kids left behind. And I don't think that's asking too much of a sacrifice from Americans.
Well, Frank, that's a great mission. And to reiterate, it's tunnels to numeral 2, tunnel2towers.org. You can go online and donate and help pay off the mortgages for at least double amputees veterans. Is that correct?
That's correct. We give them mortgage-free smart homes. Each home has cost about $500,000 to build. And because all the technology we put in these houses, they work everything off an iPad. They're in a wheelchair most of the time. We have kitchen cabinets, sinks, stoves that lower down to them so they can work a stove and cook something for themselves or get something out of a cabinet. They don't want to ask somebody for a glass or a cup. They want to go get it. Well, they couldn't when they were in their wheelchair before. Now they can in these homes that we're making. We put state-of-the-art bathrooms in that they can go in and take care of themselves. Once again, could you imagine? These are the most independent people in the world, right? They don't want to ask somebody to help them in a bathroom. These bathrooms, they don't have to ask anybody. The houses we build, absolutely beautiful. They're very subtle inside. You don't know they're just, for somebody with these type of injuries, they're wide open spaces where they can move on wood floors, where they can turn their wheelchairs. Everything that you could imagine we put in for these guys for their comfort and, more importantly, for their independence. So we need Americans to help us do this. There's a lot of them still out there from the war, from dating back in 2007, 2008, 2009, that came home with these type of injuries that are still waiting for these type of homes. And if I had all the money, in our foundation ready to go, they would all been built. But no, as we raise the money, we build these houses. So we need, once again, $11 a month. You can not only help these great heroes to come back with these catastrophic injuries, but also Gold Star families and fallen first responder families. So we're doing the work, but we need the great Americans to join us.
That's amazing. And you're having an event in Richmond, Virginia this weekend in Mechanicsville, just outside of Richmond. That is a fundraiser for your foundation, the tunnel2towers.org foundation, and you're also honoring one of the local fallen firefighters, and Brad Clark. Is that correct?
Yeah, Brandon Clark. Yep. He was a firefighter that was killed in the line of duty, and we took care of their family, the mortgage that was, for the Brandon's wife and kids that were left behind, and she's going to be the official starter over there this weekend, and she's pretty remarkable young lady, and she wants to be involved, and she did a special thing down in Congress, the Move Over law. She's promoting that. A lot of people want to make a difference. When you're hit with a tragedy like this, you want to help the next person so it doesn't happen to the next person. And Mrs. Clark is quite a hero in her own rights, for sure. But yeah, come join us there in Richmond, Virginia. Go to tunneltotowers.org. You can get all the information there. Of course, we have 70 events around the country, 70 runs and climbs around the country. So we're busy. As we're building all these houses, we can't forget what happened, the sacrifice that's made, and that's why we have these events.
Well, you're taking care of a real need for not only the victims but also the families, and by paying off the mortgage, that is such a relief for the family going forward to know that financial burden is no longer with them. So God bless you, sir, for taking up the call that was in your heart to do these very important projects for these wonderful people. And I personally thank you as someone who lost a friend in the 9/11 towers and subsequent conflicts overseas, close people. And I just want to thank you for stepping up and helping.
Well, thank you. And your listeners, I know, are great Americans. So once again, go to tunneltotowers.org. $11 a month. You could change all these lives for these families that are left behind. And thank you for having me on today.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're good.
I really appreciate it, Frank, and I appreciate you being with us. Also, Frank, I want to give a shout out. You made a great hire in Caroline Margaritas from the White House. She used to book a lot of people for me from the White House on the radio. She's a fine young lady. Great hire.
We love her. We love her, for sure. She's a great worker, and more importantly, she's a great person.
And Frank, you tell Caroline that she got a huge shout out on the John Fredericks Radio Network, all right? You do that for me.
I will. I'll do that.
All right, Frank.
You have a blessed
Best of
day.
luck to you.
Bye-bye.
All right.